Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 477, being recorded on November 29th, 2017. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Alan Malventano, and there's some other people over here laughing and giggling. And
Ken and Alex and Jim, and Josh is apparently the 13-year-old kid on the 13-year-old girl on the podcast. I always knew that was the case, really.
Girl.
Yeah, clearly. Welcome. I'm sure everybody missed us. We didn't have a show last week because of Thanksgiving. Did we have a show the week before?
Yes.
Was I on it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. See, in here I thought I was missing many consecutive weeks.
Well, if you didn't do it this week, you would have missed last
There's a
week, this
chance-
week, and next week.
There's a chance I get on 478. Not
Really?
a great one, but there's a chance. Because that's like, what, 10 a.m. where we'll be?
No.
10:30?
We're not 12 hours different.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Twitch tomorrow. Never mind. But for the next Thursday. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody who is in the U.S. at least had a good holiday. We are here to talk about some tech news and stuff that happened. Even though this is kind of like a 2-week episode, we don't have a huge amount of stuff to go through because people take holiday vacations. In fact, most of last week when I emailed somebody, I got an auto return bounce of, hey, I will be gone for the foreseeable future. Please expect long delays in email responses. I've never set one of those up before. Have you guys ever set up an out of office?
Yeah. Back when I had a job where people emailed me.
It's called having a regular job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Working for a living. We do it regularly.
Well, I feel like if I didn't respond to emails, even while I was kind of, quote, on vacation, that would be, I don't know, it feels weird.
taboo.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's
what the autoresponders for.
There's plenty of other people that do that thing.
Yeah.
We need to have a nice long
It's kind of like
discussion
having
about
a waifu pillow. Feels weird at first, but
A waifu pillow, yes. Yeah, I mean, well, whatever.
Work-life balance.
No, I feel like
good
I
thing.
have that.
Yes,
like I
thank
do
you,
a lot
Ken.
of
Thank you.
stuff. I do a lot of other things, but I don't think there's anything wrong with reading an email and then like if I reply back, hey, I'll get back to you in a couple of days. That feels better than a stale, robotic. I am out of the office. Please expect long delays on email. I don't know.
Well, you can write it yourself.
And the other
or
thing
hire
is-
someone to write it for you so that
That's
it
true.
sounds better.
They always say I'll have limited access to the internet. Where do you have limited access to the internet?
Yeah, you don't actually have limited access to anything. And then if anything, what I would think an out-of-office replier would do for me is automatically reply to some emails that show up that I would normally never
reply
acknowledge.
to.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so that gives them a little bit of like, oh, they actually are paying attention. They're actually seeing these emails, and I don't want that to happen either.
And then we'll introduce you to the wonderful world of email rules, where when they reply back, they're just shipped off into the trash can.
I have that as
It's
well.
a
It's
wild
just-
world out there.
Shift 3 is my delete button. I go through that a lot. Welcome, everybody. We do record the show on Wednesday nights, which is what it is currently as we record this, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, PCPer.com/live. You can find our chat room there. You can interact with us through that. There's a bunch of other people that participate. If you guys have interesting things to talk about, yeah, we can do that in there. So if you need a little reminder, you can go to PCPer.com/subscribe. And all this is a form that you see here in front of you. Ask for your name and email address, and I simply send you an email, or somebody here will send you an email.
Probably, maybe.
Probably, usually somewhere between 2 hours and 20 minutes before the show actually begins.
Sometimes after.
Sometimes you start at 20 minutes before and it ends 10 minutes into the show. Look, we can't control how the mailing service really works when you're sending out that many emails. So there's millions of you guys on this list, literally millions.
Doesn't play on the audio version.
Sorry. We also still have our Patreon campaign going. That is at patreon.com/PCPer. This is your ability to become a monthly recurring contributor to us.
Coming up on 2 years.
It is coming up to 2 years because we did this at CES 2 years ago. If you watch the video that we recorded, those are all CES highlight hotspots, like the escalator in the empty exhibit hall, or
And the elevator in the empty exhibit hall.
right, or the bathtub in our suite. All like right, perhaps there, for example. More Josh Tech. So we really appreciate everybody who does that. If you want to, if you become a contributor,
I put in a complaint with HR about that picture.
Oh, hold on. I'm reading HR's response right
Is
now.
Sebastian talking to you again?
Great. That means I have to check this thing mature now. Thanks.
Yeah. Anybody who becomes or
blur it out.
increases their patronage during the live stream will get a shout out during the show. So keep that in mind as I go here to check my email to make sure nobody has done that already. Sometimes we get some people in there. Yes, actually, we have one. Donna Lewis has edited their pledge from $19.98 to $25.25.
Hey.
Thank you.
Lewis.
Thank you very much, Donna
Donna
Lewis.
Lewis. You know who Donna Lewis is?
They
She's
don't?
the girl who sings "I love you always forever."
Hey, Josh,
I
you
gotta
should-
change glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. We also have, if you haven't checked that out, our mailbag. We're on episode 19, Thanksgiving edition, that has a guest appearance by my daughter in it for brief moments. This is kind of like our 15 to 25 minute show thing where you submit questions in through the YouTube channel or through the website directly, and we answer them, and it's neat. Alan did one for me a couple weeks ago. I think
It was longer than 25 minutes.
Alan, weird. Alan will probably do another one this week for us.
And then maybe Josh.
And maybe Josh the next week. We'll see if he's
I'm gonna do what?
amenable to that. You're going to do a mailbag next week while I'm gone.
Yeah, so
Oh,
submit,
well,
submit
yes.
storage questions. And
Submit
so-
storage questions for Alan.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna have
submit
a freshly
steering wheel
shorn
questions.
Mailbag.
Steering wheel and
Josh.
processor technology
Josh, that's
questions.
MAIL bag.
Yeah.
Just to
Exactly.
clarify.
Mail.
Josh can't spell.
No, as opposed to MALE bag.
Yeah, but he just can't spell.
Oh.
So it
So
doesn't,
he doesn't
matter.
know.
Yeah. We have PCPer plays. I don't think we've gotten that one up yet. I don't think you ever posted the Jedi Academy
It's all your
one.
fault, Alex.
Oh, shit. Well, that'll be up tomorrow then.
We'll do that tomorrow. We'll have
My bad,
PCPer
sorry.
plays Jedi Academy.
Jedi Knight, Jedi.
Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, where I do the best thing possible and I murder the character who's obviously going to become bad. I murder within the
Spoilers.
first 20 seconds of gameplay. Unknowingly, I didn't know you could do team kill, but it turns out it was the right move. And so if we didn't retcon it and reload the save game, I think I would have actually finished the game with the best ending.
Yeah.
At that
We
point,
loaded a
right?
bunch of arbitrary player models that were pretty great.
That's true. If you want to see a Jawa wield a lightsaber and do force jumps and stuff, it's pretty good.
Ryan gets around the platforming sections by just loading the Boba Fett model and
Yes.
using jetpacks.
I did do that.
So, you know,
Because honestly, the platforming in the game is awful.
yeah,
It's
not,
bad.
Not
It's
good.
bad. It's bad. All right, let's jump into the stuff this week. And we're going to try to make it as short and tight as possible because I have to get up early for a flight. Let's talk with Jim first. As he sits over there at my desk with no headphones, so he has no idea that Josh is just making fun of him ferociously throughout this entire thing.
I can feel it.
He's just over there behind the cables. If you're on the video version, he's just nope. There you go.
Wrong way. There you
Nope.
go.
Yep,
The best
there he
thing
is.
about him
Can they
is
see me?
that he is slightly
Yeah, they can
out of
see you.
Hi.
focus.
He's slightly spoken.
That's how we like to keep Jim slightly out of focus.
It's
better for
mumble
So
into the mic,
Jim,
and yeah, you'll be happy.
Let's talk about the Ultimate Cord Cutting Guide Part 2. It is the second after the Part 1. That's as far as my analysis is going of this evening. What did we dive into in this piece?
Right. So the first week we kind of went over like conceptually what we wanted to do for cord cutting, and this isn't just an exercise in theory. We're actually doing this. Ryan's trying to work
Yep.
on it. Alan's got it going at his house. I'm doing it. And so this week we took the decisions we made in week one and we put them to actual practice. And if you read the week one piece, you know that we settled based on the specs and capabilities on the NVIDIA Shield the Shield TV as opposed to the Shield tablet. That gets a little
Right,
confusing.
or the Shield handheld thing.
Yeah. So we went with the Shield TV because even though it's a couple years old now, it's still the most powerful, the most versatile device out there for doing this kind of stuff, short of a home theater PC. We did have some comments about that, and that's true. Although we wanted something that was a little more compact, a little bit easier to use than having to worry about custom configs on an HTPC. So we went with the Shield, and we talked about setting up Plex, which is basically going to be the center of our experience.
Right.
And the reason for that is Plex does your own content It does an increasing amount of online content, including news and stuff like that. And now, or at least for the last 6 months or so, it does live TV and DVR. So that means that from one interface, you can have all of your recorded and saved stuff as well as the live stuff coming in. And that's great, not just for convenience for us, but we all have spouses and significant others who may not be into dealing with this kind of stuff. And they're not going to put up with, if you're trying to do this at home, they're not going to put up with having to jump in and out of apps and reboot stuff and all that. So that was the idea. And on top of just the TV, because other devices do Plex and do live TV, things like Apple TV, Roku, stuff like that. But Shield TV allows us to access a whole bunch of Android apps. It allows us to do game streaming, both from our local PC as well as from GeForce Now servers. It allows us to do emulation for retro games. So if you're waiting to get one of those SNES classics, who needs it? You can get that plus 1,000 other games.
Completely legitimately.
It's a gray area.
Yeah.
It's mostly black, but there's some gray in there. But whatever. It's a homebrew ROMs. Way to go. So it really does offer that versatility, and we set it up and we've been playing with it in our houses and here at the office, and it works great for the most part. One of the things that we've learned even since this article came out that we'll talk about more in our final part of this series is live TV is a little iffy.
Yep.
It works. It does DVR. It now does commercial skipping. That just came out this week, I think, on Monday.
Yeah, it does. It records the show first, and then it goes through.
Right.
And,
So if you're setting up auto recordings, Plex I think it uses ComSkip, which is that open source software. That will it'll take care of those commercials for you, which is nice. But the live TV, it doesn't work great in practice. There's a delay when you want to change channels.
Yep.
There's and just to clarify, we're using a network tuner. We're using the HD Home Run, two-tuner model. So a delay when you change channels, a delay sometimes in tuning certain channels just in general, like it'll just stop tuning it or freeze for a minute. Sometimes it recovers, sometimes it doesn't. One of the benefits of Plex is that you can have your server in one location and stream to you from wherever you are over the internet on your mobile device or from another device in another house or something. And live TV in that context is really finicky. You have all the delays you do locally, except they're amplified, and you have even more failures. So what we're experiencing now, and again, we'll talk about this more in the final piece, is it's probably not ready for prime time. I would not, even though on paper we were really excited about this, I would not recommend this type of setup where you're getting your only TV through Plex if someone else in your house is relying on TV. If that's what they want, they want that live TV component. I wouldn't put my wife through it. I know Ryan's wife is probably, and Alan's wife has said some things about it too. It's not not ideal.
If you have it doing DVR recordings, I found that all that stuff seems pretty rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the live part.
It's just the live stuff.
Yeah.
And you can't easily jump into, if you were to tune the same station that was currently being recorded, another tuner will tune to that same station.
As opposed to using the same stream.
Like a regular DVR would just kind of jump right into the thing it was already recording.
I assume so,
And you could scrub back to even the beginning of it because it was already recording. Mm-hmm. You can't on Plex. You have to wait until the entire show has been recorded, then you can go back to that recording to go back earlier in the show.
Okay.
As opposed to if you just want to jump in the middle of it, you're kind of stuck. Right. At least for the moment. It's it's getting better. It's just that it's not fully baked.
Yeah. And it is still a relatively new feature. Plex introduced DVR capability, so not live, but DVR from an antenna last fall. So it's been a year. Live TV is still, and as Alan said, and the benefit there too is if you have an existing library of content that you've acquired, if you set up your DVR recordings, Plex will figure out what the recording is from the programming data, record it, dump it in your existing library right alongside your content. So if you're watching some shows and you're missing a few episodes and those episodes come on, it detects that you're missing those episodes, downloads them, puts them in your library, and then when you go to that section of your on-demand content, it's just right there. Yep. And now will be commercial free too. So,
and there's even a checkbox if you turn it on. It's kind of dangerous, but it will even replace
Yeah, it can do analysis of the quality of each file, and it will replace. So if you have a DVD rip at 480p, it will replace it with a 1080i rip from over the air.
Yep.
If you want,
It's a lot of trust.
That's a lot of trust. I have not checked that box.
Yeah.
So in summary,
But you would just save multiple copies anyway.
Sure.
So we found that it's the same old Plex, which we've been using for years, which is great. All this extra functionality on the Shield for having the apps and the games and emulation and stuff has been great. The live TV is just not there. So that is a big issue, because that was one of the crucial things we wanted to have when we set this out. So now we're looking at other options, like some of these subscription streaming services like YouTube TV that offer live. So you can still get them. There are other ways to get them. In fact, you can even, with the network tuner, you can run the HD Home Run app on the Shield and tune the TV that way as well over the air. That works great.
Yep.
It's not a problem with the tuner.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Actually, I found out today, maybe that's... what was I looking at, Ken? I could just open up my computer on a new machine. And the HD Home Run shows
just
up
there.
and then it lists all the channels it can see, and you just double click it and it runs it in Media Player.
yeah,
And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that works just fine. For any
It's
computer on the
MPEG
network.
streams.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is actually use the Google Live Channels app on Android TV with the HD Home Run if you want to use stuff. And that, I believe, probably integrates with Google now. So you could say, like, watch...
It does, yes.
ABC or something.
ABC or whatever. You'd probably have to have like the exact affiliate name, because that's the channel ID or whatever.
And as a stopgap, if you're trying to get into Plex and you want to be able to do this live TV thing, and if the Plex thing is being finicky and you don't feel like restarting the server, you could just fire that up. Like, it's the HD Home Runs are intelligent. Like, if something's using a tuner or two, like, there's still tuners available. Like, I have the quad tuner version, right? So if the thing's acting up, you can still just, on a Windows PC, go the regular route. You can just do what you were explaining. And even if there were other...
I was just amazed that it was a brand new machine out of the box, and I logged into it, and I went to my computer. I was like, oh, what's this? Well, HD Home Run shows up on the network. Double click. It lists all the channels. 5.1, 5.2, 9.1, 2.3.
Your Windows 10 install did have to grab a MPEG-2 decoder from the App Store.
It did have to
Which
do
is
that.
funny.
That's true. It had to have an MPEG-2 decoder plug-in for Windows
Like a
Media Player.
120K download.
Yeah. So there was that, but
licensing costs
very cool
are
nonetheless.
Real bitch.
Any other final points here? Or we just point people to the story? What makes sense?
Yeah, check out the story. So we're really happy with it, except for live TV. And what we're going to be we're looking at in the final piece in the next week or so is, what does this do to bandwidth? Because if you're going to cut the cord and you're going to be relying on the internet for everything, and you're in one of those situations where you have a cap, what does that look like? Cost savings. Does this actually save money when you add up everything? How much are you saving? And then any other final issues that we encounter over the next week or two. So check that out, and please send us your questions if you'd like us to look at anything specific. We'll do our best to accommodate that.
Very cool. We had a question. So he's making a joke about what year is it if you have to download MPEG-2, but the point is it's uncompressed. Like, and we looked at the network
that's what
usage.
HDTV streams are.
When I looked at my network utilization on that laptop when I was running, it was like 40 megabits. Right, of just video streaming from the HD Home Run, and it looked amazing. Right, I was like, all right. It turns out this has some benefits when you get it to work right. All right.
And the reason you have to download it is because of licensing costs. Right. Microsoft says, okay, we have to provide this functionality, but we don't want to pay for it.
For everybody up front.
And they've been doing that since
only
the Windows
people who are
Media
going to
Center
want
days.
it or need it. We're going to pay for. I'm glad I cost Microsoft that 12 cents or whatever their licensing fee was.
Do you remember when they bundled the ability to play DVDs on the original Xbox with the DVD remote?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you had to buy that remote control.
You had to buy it separate.
And that was because of the licensing costs?
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. We got a couple of other things here we're going to run through real quick. These are Sebastian reviews. He is unfortunately on assignment in Cambridge, England. Really? Probably drinking beer and just being a rambunctious, obnoxious American over there. He seems like that kind of guy if I've ever met one, right? But he posted a review of the Corsair HS50 stereo gaming headset. This is a $50 gaming headset that, anytime you deal with low-cost audio gear, you have this risk, right? So, I don't know much about the audio specs here. You guys can take a look at this and tell me, a 50 millimeter driver, the frequency response rates, impedance, all this stuff, whether or not that's good or bad compared to other higher cost or similarly cost headsets. Man, he loves using that head, that clear acrylic head. Looks like our thing locked up again there. I don't know what's going on. Long story short is...
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know why my scrolling is not working. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll kick it after the story.
All right. The conclusion takeaway here is that it's actually a really, really good headset for $50. As he writes at the end, sets a high bar for a budget-conscious gaming headset trading surround effects, which it doesn't have, for very high build quality. And he seems very impressed by the build quality, similar to much more expensive headphones. Solid 2-channel audio, outstanding comfort in the mix, and you have compelling choice that feels like a bargain at $49. So it got an editor's choice from Sebastian in that case. So
How's microphone quality? Did he mention that?
I'm sure he did. Let me see here. He talks about the 50 millimeter drivers. The microphone offers above average sound with good background noise rejection, and mic is more full sounding than I expected, with only a little of the characteristic smaller mic sound. He compared it to the voice quality on a phone, 3G voice.
Yeah, that's the one thing that has really annoyed me tremendously about gaming headsets.
Agreed.
Is they really pay a lot of attention to the looks and maybe the drivers, but the microphone quality typically always pretty lacking. I mean, it's not, like one of these big diaphragm mics, but
sure,
come on, give us something better.
Agreed.
And it sounds like Corsair did okay.
They did for $50. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Pause there. All right, and Sebastian, busy guy over the last couple of weeks, still not here to talk about any of these reviews. I think he timed this trip specifically for this reason. He did post a review of the Inwin 301 tempered glass mini tower case, which I think is really awesome looking.
Yeah,
Right.
sharp-looking case.
It's nice looking.
It is.
Got no
and also
fans. Where are the fans?
impossible to take pictures of, according to him as well. With anytime you've got that tempered
polarizer
glass
filter.
He wants that reflection in it.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
Oh. What do you see in it? Oh, you see his speaker.
I mean, like he wants
symmetry
the
of the speaker.
or else he would eliminate it.
Yeah, Sebastian does not make mistakes like that.
Where are the Where are the fans?
Let's see. It is. You mean what? Like where are the fans? Are they included, or where do the fans go?
Fans, one rear. Oh well, the
It's gonna
rear
have
fan
2
wasn't
front,
installed.
1 rear, 2 bottom. Yeah. Although the 2 bottom ones do occupy a PCIe slot. What's interesting about this is that it's only $65 for the white version, $69 for the black version.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
For tempered glass, and you can see it's got the handle up here. Inwin does a lot of really good, interesting, and creative designs.
The Inwin logo. Scroll up.
Yeah, what does that do?
What is? I mean,
Does that
is
do
it just
something?
always say Inwin, or is it a little
or if you look at
LCD?
it the other way, it's Nimni.
Nimni.
I'm pretty sure it's just been like that.
It might
If you
light
read it
up.
from bottom to top,
It
it's
lights up.
ZZ.
Yeah, it looks like it's backlit.
Yeah, I don't know. And here's another one.
It is.
Oh, okay. And you can see the umbrella.
You can see the umbrella and his wife in the background,
Again,
and the
totally
small
on
child
purpose.
with audio equipment in its mouth.
It's got a cool honeycomb pattern on the back as well. That captures the thumb screws and all. I just think it's it's a mini. It's a not mini. It's a micro ATX tower. So it's on the small side, but I think it just has a lot of like personality to it, which seems odd to say about a chassis. Really easy to access, fairly easy to work in. You can see like an interior shot, very clean lines. Not a lot of like exposed, cruddy looking metal or anything like that. You can see there's Alan. You can see the fan openings on the front.
Oh, okay.
If you want to do it, there's the back plate, so you can access the rear of the motherboard, even while doing that SSD holder. You need to upgrade his. I guess it's just for demo purposes. Probably don't need to upgrade him for that reason alone. But you can see there. I mean, that's actually a good shot. He was able to get the 240 millimeter Corsair CPU cooler mounted in there. He had a full length AMD Radeon graphics card installed. In terms of performance and whatnot.
It does seem like that fan would be a bit suffocated in the front.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a gap there is between that
I don't know.
the bracket and the front of the case.
Make it work hard. What can I say? So it does pretty well in terms of ambient noise temperature, ambient temperatures above ambient, and then noise levels. Those are two separate readings. But at $59 is pretty awesome, right? Weaknesses including the 3.5-inch hard drive support is limited to one bay. So if you're looking to do RAID and that, you're kind of out of luck. And no case fans included, Alan, in case you were curious.
Yeah, well, that's how you get that low price.
Hopefully, if you buy that case, you don't go buy, what are the brown...
Noctua.
You don't just get a bunch of Noctua brown on brown.
Costs more than the case.
Fans. Yeah, close to it. Tempered glass side panel, tool-free enclosure, intelligent cable routing, clean, attractive style, low cost for caseless quality. So there you go. $65 for the white one, $69, $70 for the black one. So a good deal all around. Check out his review if you're interested in that. Let's next move on. Talk with Ken if we have to.
Oh no!
Look,
Hey,
I didn't want to do it, but this is what it came to. We posted a story called "Console Frame Rating: Measuring Performance of the New Xbox One X," and this came about. Well, the new console came out, and it's a pretty powerful machine. And it's one of those things that every time a game console launches, we've always been curious about, like, what is the performance level? How does it compare to the PC? How does it compare to previous consoles? And there's always a ton of question marks about how you evaluate performance, how you measure image quality, those types of things.
Can't exactly install fraps.
Right. Can't run fraps on it. We can't run our normal overlay that we do on PC games for our frame rating system. But Ken did discover an open source project. What was it called, Ken?
Tear drop.
Yeah, so it's TR drop is the name, but it's pronounced. I think for first couple days we called it teardrop, and then somebody went, "No, dummies, it's teardrop."
I was
Because
definitely calling it teardrop.
It's a play on.
You're looking. I mean,
Teardrop,
the
because-
logo has a tear in it.
I didn't look at the
it's a
logo.
tear
I
with a
understand.
tear.
That's true. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, which one
Tears
is
and
it?
Drops,
I know,
tears
right?
and drops.
Weird. So basically, what this allows you to do, Ken, go ahead and you explain it. What does this software allow us to do?
So this software it's an open source piece of software that runs, I think, only currently on Windows, and it takes in a video file of capture, so just plain capture from a capture card hooked up to a console or PC or anything like that, and it uses OpenCV, the computer vision libraries, to analyze if there are differences between one frame to the next frame to determine what frame rate it's running at, if there are any drops, any tears, any sort of hitches like that.
It's actually a really simple idea to think about.
It's very difficult in implementation.
But very difficult to implement, without a lot of knowledge about what you're talking about, right? So you're basically, if I could look at every pixel on the frame very quickly,
you should be able to know when they change.
and then look at the next frame and see how many pixels changed relative. Like, okay, now I can assume this is a new frame or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was there a tear? Did the top third of it change or not change? No, wait, it would be the top third of it change and the bottom third of it not change. Okay, we had a tear.
Yep.
Right? Something like that. Which is, it's not a simple task, but
simple in concept, not necessarily in execution.
Yeah. And it requires a lot of compute, right?
Yeah,
Like
this isn't exactly
takes a lot.
fast running program.
Right. So what we do is we were capturing gameplay out of these consoles through an HDMI capture card, right? And we were recording these raw files. How big were they per run? Probably 20.
On the resolution.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing 1080p 60, so they're like 18 gig files.
Yeah, 18 gigabyte
For a minute.
per a minute.
Yeah, for 60 seconds.
Yeah. And then we run them through this application, and you could do cool things like run one of them, run two for side by side, up to
You can do up to 3.
up to 3.
Yep. There's a bunch of different configurations.
And it does it does kind of the heavy lifting of, like, it draws it on the screen. You get to see all these comparisons. It's really cool. So,
I mean, honestly, if anyone's ever looked at the Digital Foundry videos of where they do analysis of console games, it's very similar.
Yep.
They're using software they've developed that does a lot of this stuff,
Right.
using probably pretty similar methods, but this is an open source project that's just put out there.
Yeah.
Community can mess with it, improve upon it.
yeah, the Digital Foundry guys have been doing it for a really long time. They do it better than we do. They're very good at it. They analyze a lot of games, a lot of different stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a very straightforward mental leap to make to go, how do I analyze this and know what frame rates are going? Now, we'd even gone into whole things like pixel counting and how do you know if this 1080p thing is actually being rendered at 900p and then scaled up? Different discussion. Maybe another day, maybe never in my lifetime. I'm not really sure. Now, what we did with this was we compared the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X, PS4, PS4 Pro, and you can kind of see in this table that we put together how these, in theory, compare computationally. And the Xbox One X is by far the most powerful system, right? The PS4 Pro still has a pretty good leg up over the PS4. But the Xbox One X goes, another almost 50%, 40% on top of that in terms of its GPU compute in teraflops, right? And then much higher memory bandwidth, all that type of stuff. So what we have is we have some screenshots here. We have a video. This obviously makes more sense if you watch it in real time in the video. But what was the kind of takeaway? We only looked at 3 games. We're just kind of getting our feet wet into this. What was the takeaway from those 3 titles?
It was pretty much along what you would expect. So the PS4 at 1080p 60 was able to generally deliver a more solid 60 FPS over the Xbox One, the original Xbox One, which is what we've seen with a lot of game titles. So the Xbox One has been kind of known to struggle to do 1080p 30 and taking a lot of dynamic resolution tricks, rendering at 900p and stuff like that, and has generally been determined as weaker than the PS4.
Right.
Even if you just look at the raw specs, you can pretty much come with that conclusion. However, when you look at the PS4 Pro versus the Xbox One X, that story changes by a significant amount.
Yeah.
So if we take a look at Hitman as an example, this is actually the best performance case we found because Hitman has a PS4 Pro patch and an Xbox One X patch, so it's optimized by the developers. And it also has an option for unlocked frame rate. So you can set it into a mode where it won't force to 30 or 60. And that means we can tell actual relative performance between the 2 consoles. So
yeah, it's hard. It's not showing up very well in our capture because we're only capturing a small portion of the window here. And we're cutting off the top of it apparently too. But this gives you an idea, and it may not come across in the stream. You should go to the article and look at the YouTube video. But even in the YouTube video, putting it side by side, I don't know if that's more or less effective. Like the PS4 Pro running at about 40 frames per second is more stuttery. Like the Xbox One X is smoother on the right hand side in these videos, right? So it's interesting to see it. And that's something, honestly, if you put those 2 videos side by side without any of this teardrop software, you'd be able to tell that there was a difference. But being able to put numerics behind it, I think actually makes it much more impactful. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. So this is kind of a tool we have in our arsenal now to pull out when we want to take a look at this stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily expect us to analyze every console game that comes out.
No.
There are people that are very good at that. We enjoy their content.
Not only would I not expect it, I will tell you for certain it will not happen. I will tell you for certain. Yeah. All right, we'll run through these other things real quick too. A keyboard review from Sebastian. The HAVIT.
Gotta have it.
HAVIT. I don't really know. HVKB395L ultra thin RGB mechanical keyboard. It's a thin keyboard with RGB colors. It's got kickstands. It's got USB cable. It is very thin, as you can see.
Are they blues or browns? Or they're blues?
Blues.
Do they make it thinner by just like removing the base plate and making it a flimsier design, or is it still pretty solid?
No, it's pretty shallow. The key travel is only 3 millimeters.
Oh, so
it looks like everything is made thinner. Like the keys themselves, the key caps look short, the base looks thinner, and then the travel is 3 millimeters.
I like how you can see the blues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't think those are cherry blues.
They're not standard blues.
Yeah,
they are.
They're just blues.
Patent expired blues.
They're the kale ones.
Okay. Got it.
They're good switches.
Yeah, they are.
So Sebastian seemed to like it fairly well. It's an $80 keyboard, shallow but clicky experience, very conducive to comfort over long periods with less finger travel, shallower wrist angle. That's actually kind of an interesting benefit to it as well.
Yeah.
Right? Less potential wrist impact. And of course, RGB lighting, although it cannot be controlled via the OS.
How do you
yet.
control it?
There is
hotkeys?
nothing yet.
Key presses.
Oh, key presses, I would assume, right?
Yep. They're working on a driver. It's not out yet, but yeah, otherwise you've got to follow the manual and you click this, that, and the other thing to change the patterns.
Right. And then also quickly, Maury posted a review of the Gigabyte AX370 Gaming 5 motherboard. This is for the Ryzen platform, right? People have been asking for more Ryzen motherboard reviews from us. This is a reasonable cost part with $190 MSRP, so way better than some of the, like, say, $500 Thunder Threadripper. There's no such thing as Thunderripper that I know of.
That would be a great mod name.
The way less than the $500 Threadripper.
I had one of those the other day, and sure enough,
Not in public.
Had to go
my
home
pants
early.
have never been the same.
Had to make one of those emergency home visits. I get it. So like I said, this is not a budget board, but it's a reasonable cost board with a lot of features. You got USB 3. Is there 3.1 on here as well? Let me check. Yeah, USB 3.1 Gen 2, two of them. 6 USB 3.1 Gen 1, which is USB 3.0. Essentially, lots of other connectivity. You got your 2 gigabit Ethernet ports on it. Lots of other features there. And then I always got to look. Not as good looking a board without the LED, kind of photoshopped in lighting, but that's the case for everything. Slick. I do like the finish on the black PCB around it.
Yeah, Gigabyte is always good with those matte black PCBs on their boards.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if anything else stands out here. It's still got the
sex ports.
Sex ports.
Yep, 2 of them.
It does have U.2. Yep. Still holding on.
Good.
And M.2.
And just a single M.2.
And a single U.2, and you get to choose which one of those 2 you use.
Okay.
Regardless, it won't knock out any SATA ports, though, because, well, AMD.
Sure.
That's nice.
Sure. And, of course, the giant CPU cooler fit pictures. We've got to have it.
Yeah.
Like
we've had one of these boards around the office for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I think we did some of our initial Ryzen 5 testing with this board. I don't know if that's what we use in our review, but
I don't remember.
It's a solid board. I mean, I've used it for a couple of projects. It's kind of everything you'd want.
Does it have SLI support?
I think.
I guess it does. There's an SLI bridge. Never
Can't
mind.
imagine why not.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it comes with a bridge, probably.
That would be a poor use of resources.
We got some bridges. Throw them in the boxes.
Throw one in there. From an overclocking standpoint, he did get this one up to, let's see, memory speed of 3366, which is pretty good for the AMD platforms.
It was supposed to be running
Not
4,000.
fantastic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Should go up higher with the memory he has, but anything over 3,200 is kind of a crapshoot. Because think how long it took. What's his bucket from AMD to kind of tune stuff to get to 3,200. Our friend with the plaid and the watches and the bald head.
Yeah. Robert. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I knew
he
you
worked extensively on that to get settings and BIOS and hardware to be able to do that consistently. And so there's still a learning curve, but still,
right.
If you can get to 3,200, you're going to be happy.
I would think
for the most
so.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. So check out that review.
But specs versus reality. So you gotta.
How expensive is DDR4 4000 memory with how expensive all DDR4 memory is right now?
Extra stupid, not just stupid.
There was a graph that I think was Brad from PC World, PC Mag.
Yeah.
One of the PC websites, damn it, that showed like a 16 gig kit of DDR4 price over the last 8 months or a year, something like that, and it had gone from like $110 to $240 or something like that. Something ridiculous.
No, at when about a year and a half ago, DDR4 of a decent 2400 speed, 16 gigs was like $86.
Yeah.
And now it's 190 to 210. But if you've been watching the sales, they're now starting to chuck them down. So hopefully the memory scare is close to being over and we can see more reasonable prices than what we did about 2 months ago, which was just nuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It is selling for $164.99 on Newegg as the time of this publication. So there you go. The only weakness being that inability to run at 4,000 megahertz. So we'll see if that's something that they can fix over time with BIOSes, or if they even bother going down that route. Oh man, Sebastian, like I said, busy with these cases. One more to look at real fast. Corsair Crystal Series 460X. If you thought the Inwin was pretty looking, look at this guy.
That's pretty sweet.
And look at the photography.
Also pretty sweet.
Look at that.
It looks like some honeybees set up shop.
It does. This is tempered glass, buddy. More tempered glass.
Wait, is there tempered glass right in front of the fans?
Well, there's a gap.
Pretty big
There's a pretty big gap here.
Yeah, there's like a 1-inch gap. all
Bigger
around.
on a
Mind
lot
the
of
gap.
the cases that do that, but it's still a stupid idea.
I mean, hey.
Just perforate that glass, baby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, it's tempered. Yeah, that'll be easy.
Drill a bunch of tiny holes in the
You
tempered
could just
glass.
punch holes in
Yeah.
it. One big hole, right?
One really big hole.
Are you guys trying to say as a group you can't etch holes into glass?
Oh, you can.
Like as a manufacturing process, you can't
yeah.
put holes in glass?
Totally can.
Sure, yeah.
I bet you not even Josh has something within reach that would actually properly punch holes in it, though.
I'm not saying us, I'm
for.
saying them.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a full
Do you know
size.
how much more expensive that would be
Would it be?
and time
Oh, yeah.
consuming?
Pass the costs on to Sebastian. It's fine.
Yeah, he'll pay the money.
Look at that. Look at those LED fans. So this is much more. This is a little more expensive. It's got more glass on it. $130. $130 for the case. The Crystal 460X. What's the one that we have behind you over there? Which one is that?
It's the bigger one. It's the 570.
But it's also all
Yeah,
all
it's
glass.
literally just the bigger version of this.
Okay. Yeah. I'm really eager to try to get those Star Wars cards in there at some point.
Yeah, I've got a build with a lot of RGB destined for that case.
So
right
much
now.
RGB.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty amazing, guys. It's going to be amazing. So check out his review. This is the Corsair Crystal 460X. I think we've talked about cases enough for this episode. Let me look down the list. There's no more cases on there, are there? I'm going to skip them if there are. Let's move on to the next stuff. Scott posted this up. Jeremy, do you know anything about the rumored Core i7 9700K? Because, I mean, the 8700 has been out for at least 3 weeks. It's time to move on. Past
It's
it.
true. And the coffee is getting stale, so we need to refresh it.
True.
Yeah. Is it going to require a new platform too?
But the fun part is Firefox just crashed on me, so I don't even have the web page open at the
If I
moment.
ask that question and Ryan stutters in his answer,
I don't know.
then,
Yeah. So the big news, if true, would be that Intel's planning on elevating the top-end mainstream processor to 8 cores, 16 threads. So even over better than, 2 more than the Coffee Lake parts we saw just a couple of months ago, where we went from 4 to 6. The rumor has been that this would be another new motherboard, I think, right?
390.
The 390
And
chipset.
the rumor is that it won't be compatible with 370.
of course.
Wait, what won't
That
be?
the 8 cores won't be compatible with 370.
Right. Well, if they're releasing a new chipset, I would assume that would be because the processors wouldn't be backwards
I think they're
compatible. My
releasing
question
a
would
new
be, are they
chipset.
could you use an 8700K in a 390 board?
Probably. I think they're releasing, in theory, would release 390 for additional chipset features because 370 didn't really bring any of those over 270. So
They didn't.
we would be due for additional features, but
Well, let me posit this.
Please pause it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's going to be a different socket, and you're going to have more PCIe lanes.
Be a smart move for them.
I'd be good
Hopefully.
with that.
But how many more? Like 4
At least
more?
up to Ryzen levels, from 16 to 24.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that would
And
make
have the
sense.
chipset with the extra.
Chipsets on the Intel processors use DMI.
I know.
They're dedicated,
I'm
right?
with
So
you.
they're not included in that count.
I know.
So
I'm
then what's
saying.
the question?
But if you already had,
It's just die space. It's just pins.
yeah, I guess.
If AMD can do it with Ryzen, Intel can do it with Core,
Sure.
right?
And not only that, but Intel likes to swap sockets. They got no problem with that.
This is true.
The other question is, when they went from the 7700 to the 8700, they did it without increasing the core-to-core latency. In other words, they went from 4 to 6 cores.
Or still a ring bus.
We'll keep it with the ring bus. So are they going to keep with the ring bus here?
I would imagine.
Well, I don't know. All their other stuff is mesh now.
But all their other stuff is more than 8 cores.
True.
Like they've done 8 cores on a ring bus before without problem.
They have. Yeah, that's true.
So the current 6 core is a ring bus, and the current 10 plus is mesh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inside source tells me the 9700K must be watching live is not a rumor. It is in fact a real part. But Intel could do an 8900K in the same socket if they wanted to.
Which would also be an
8900.
8900K
Yeah, but they're not
would be
going
the
to do
same core count.
Why would they do that when they can just get people to buy their new platform?
That is a legitimate question.
Because no one will have bought the 370 platform because you can't buy processors.
Yeah, that's true. When we were building our gift guide, I wanted to put the 8700K on there if it were near its retail price. But not only was it not near its retail price, it wasn't available.
It's almost like the Broadwell desktop launch. Remember that?
It's not. Those never came out.
No, they did. They did come out. They absolutely came out.
Those never.
Yeah, they came out.
Hit like.
Yeah, you could get the CPUs on eBay.
Maybe.
No,
and that's about
you
it.
could buy the 5775C on Newegg.
But it was months later that you
yeah.
could do it. And like at launch, quote unquote launch, there was nothing. Right? At least at here, there was some available at launch. It seemed
For
like
$500
And
from Micro Center.
were there ever Broadwell like retail packages, or was it all OEM parts?
Nah.
I don't remember that. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
So it feels like two things. One, it feels like Intel has no idea what the hell they actually want to do. If this is actually true, and a secondary source now telling me it's absolutely true, I don't know. But did they give a time frame for this as well? Like second half 2018? Yeah. Man, that's a lot of sockets and a lot of motherboards and a lot of processors to release in a really short window of time.
Yeah,
that's what.
I wonder if Newegg will
Intel just
create
gets bored
kind of
of
an
one
internal.
socket.
All right, stop.
One at a time.
Jeebus.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just going to comment that Intel gets bored with a socket really quickly nowadays. That it gets older, it needs a fresh one to keep it occupied.
Oh, I see.
I mean, they haven't they've stuck to the same pattern of how long a socket has been around until Z3 or X370. Really, you get 2 processors out of a socket,
Z370,
and that's it. Z370.
Did you say X370?
Yeah,
Probably.
It's a different platform.
Yeah, weird. Huh?
You're talking about the process revision upgrade.
Yeah.
Not the actual.
I'm talking how you had
architecture
a 6700K and a 7700K that use the same socket and the same motherboards.
Okay.
It's been that way for quite a while with Intel. Now they're starting to screw stuff up.
Okay. Yeah, so this is what.
And I
this will
wonder
be
if NVIDIA, not NVIDIA, but Newegg and Amazon guys, like, if you put in your shopping basket a processor and then a motherboard that is not compatible, do you get a warning
No,
for that?
you don't.
That's unfortunate, because
If you go to someplace like
anymore-
PC Part Picker, they do
That'll
that. They
tell
do
you.
that, right? Like if you add a 7700K and a Z370 board, it's going to tell you these won't work.
If you add a 7700K, it won't let you pick a Z370 board unless you turn off the compatibility filter by default.
But yeah, but like Newegg and Amazon, definitely not Amazon, but Newegg doesn't have that capability either. And it should at least warn you, right? But it's kind of not their job, but I bet they really, really, really don't want to deal with an RMA either.
Well, Newegg charges restocking on everything, so
Do they really?
I'm pretty sure they do
Yeah, I think so.
at this point.
No, like
This is why Amazon
unless it's like a defective part,
sure.
DOA.
Right.
Then I don't think they do.
Yeah. I don't know. So there's some great news for you. Hey, if you want, like, AMD is going to have their revision of Ryzen come out sometime next year. Everything indicates, in the first half of next year. What that actually adds, are they going to add more cores? Are they just going to add more frequency? I have no idea. I haven't really heard much about it. I haven't paid attention.
There's been a lot of different rumors on it. Like, some people said it's going to be 6 cores, core complex. I've heard 8. I've heard the rumor it's going to be 5 gigahertz on 7 nanometer. It's
Nope.
No.
No, it's going to be at most a 12 nanometer part. That is the kind of refresh that Global Foundries and Samsung has done.
The
But
12 nanometer.
You're going to get probably better power and better clock speed, but don't expect your CCXs to increase their core counts.
So you think it's basically just going to be a refresh and a process optimization at best.
Yeah, I mean, you may get a max of 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz.
That's a pretty good upgrade.
To 4.0 now. I mean, it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. There may be some other tweaks architecturally to decrease some of the internal latencies of some of the execution.
Maybe some memory
units.
controller changes.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, who knows?
That'd be nice.
But it would be nice to see. And I mean, they've had some time to do the work. And I mean, if you think about what Bulldozer to Pile Driver did, that was a lot of people kind of poo-pooed it, but that was a significant jump, and it kept AMD in the game because Bulldozer was crap.
So Cannon Lake, which would be those new sockets, looks like June-ish time frame for the 390. And AMD's looking more like March for its refresh. So
Just pulling this out of nowhere?
maybe. Yeah, I'm just making it up as I go.
Okay.
Wink. Wink.
Totally making
Exclusive
Say
information
March or
here
Smarch?
only. I said March.
Just don't buy an 8700K.
Yeah, basically.
What are you gonna do?
Unless you get a hell of a deal.
You're not going to, though.
Well,
But you won't at the rate
like
it's
the
going now.
Threadripper. Well, we'll get to it in the other stuff. Let's move on. Samsung Z-NAND SSD was kind of a
We're just
nasty.
gonna skip the Vega.
It's not in my. I mean, yeah, in general.
You're skipping.
Hold on. Nope, I won't skip it. I just need to go back. I didn't see it. Okay,
It's in
here we go.
there.
There we go.
PowerColor Teases Custom RX Vega 64 Red Devil.
Nice looking card, but like how many like
The answer is 0. They will sell. No, it's a non-zero number that will be very low.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Because
saw some
again,
reviews come
people
out
like
of this
triple slots.
today.
yeah.
It's a fine Vega 64 card, but I mean it still doesn't beat a 1080.
Right. That's my
Yeah,
point.
my guess is like it doesn't overclock much better than the other cards we've seen already. Whose review was it? Do you know?
Gear 3D maybe?
Okay.
In other words, it doesn't benefit from the added cooling. Like it just,
That's
No.
But that's been the case for the Nvidia cards for a while,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And like they don't really benefit that much.
yeah. I mean it'll
From
be
it?
quieter, I'm sure.
Correct.
Right?
Well, you're not sure, but it should be.
I mean it should be.
should be.
You know.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
There have been cards with insane looking coolers on them where the cooler was just horrible in performance.
I mean, I don't
It's
remember
happened.
specifics, but this card is likely going to be quieter than a reference.
Oh sure,
Lower
than a reference.
design.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
it's not like there's a plethora of custom Vega cards to buy. In fact, I don't
True,
know if you
or
can
any.
purchase any.
We could talk about that in our picks of the week holiday guide
Okay,
part as
okay.
well. So there you go. Now we'll move on to our there it is. Samsung Z-NAND, kind of their what they have themselves said competition to 3D Crosspoint, right? Like they've said that this
Yes.
is like, hey, you're not the only guys doing something
Yeah, 2 years
unique in the
ago at
enterprise
Flash Memory
space.
Summit, like right after Intel did a keynote and crosspoint this, crosspoint that, Optane this, and then Samsung was like, "Oh yeah, Z-NAND," and they dropped that. Right,
Z-NAND.
that was like a couple of years ago. But
This is our first product that
this
we've
is
seen.
an
based
actual
on it.
product, right? Now Z-NAND is supposedly already on second generation, but this product is using first generation. In other words,
Well, hold on. What you mean by that is Samsung is developing the second generation of the technology.
yes,
This is the productization of the first generation
Yes.
of the technology. Got
and
it.
the first generation is supposedly SLC. That's flash-like media.
Okay.
It works like flash.
Okay.
It has cells,
Yep.
store electrons. It's not like phase change,
Right.
right?
But they have not talked about what makes it different really yet.
They haven't really detailed like what makes it so much faster. And that is
Faster
the
in what
advantage
way?
of this. It's very low latency flash memory. Now,
12 to 20 microsecond random read is the stuff there.
which is significantly faster. Like
That's within spitting distance of the less than 10 microseconds of Optane.
It is.
For what Intel claims.
It is. It gets pretty close. And like in comparison, Samsung like 960 Pro is like 60 or 70.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is a significant drop
Yeah.
in read
In read
latency.
latencies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put a chart. If you scroll down a little bit, I did like a simple comparison of like here's your hard drives and your NAND and your, the ranges of those items
Right.
versus like where this SZ985 sits compared to a
Yeah.
P4800X. Realize a 900P is basically identical to a P4800X in this respect if you're trying to compare it to consumer stuff. So that might actually get them some like wins as far as companies trying to buy this product as opposed to Optane, because to get the full performance out of Optane, you have to do a list of tweaks to a server. You have to turn off C states. You have to potentially turn off P states. You have to like basically just run the thing full tilt with no possibility of clocking down, because the latency of just trying to speed back up negatively impacts the latency of the Optane part. You know, you diminish, you lose some of your gain that you were going to get. Whereas the Samsung part actually operates in more of a sweet spot. Like if you were just running a Windows server, just doing regular interrupts and not doing polling to the storage, like this device is running in the range where you would see most of the benefit that you can under that platform.
Got it.
Right? You're not so fast that you start losing benefits because of the platform limitations, right?
Fair.
So, cool stuff there. But again, they're trying to market this to server stuff. Obviously, you're not going to be able to buy this. And the bigger point that I want to make about a Samsung Enterprise, NVMe part in general is that every other Samsung NAND-based part to come out that was like an Enterprise NVMe thing, we've never seen samples. There's probably you could probably count on one hand how many companies have done purchase orders of these things from Samsung.
Well, we don't know that.
It's an extremely small subset. It's not that it's a tiny market. It's just like these are large orders, I'm sure, that are coming from these companies.
Oh,
right. Samsung only chooses to deal with an extremely small amount of companies when they're dealing with these enterprise parts. So, I mean, what that means for adoption, I don't know. Intel looks like they're willing to sell a P4800X to anybody that wants to buy the thing.
And they've not launched a consumer variant in the 900p.
And they have launched.
Right.
Yeah. Like there's...
Has Samsung said anything about launching this to consumers?
No
interest in that? Or no stated interest in that, I guess?
They haven't said anything even close to that. Their focus on this seems to be that, like, look, we want to make a low latency thing. We want to make it for cheaper than other people can make theirs for.
Yep.
This device is probably not going to be there because it's using the first generation Z-NAND. The second generation stuff, which actually there's did I put that slide in there? Yeah, there's a slide.
This one?
In that article. They were trying to make it cheaper to produce, which is why the second generation stuff is actually doing like MLC instead of SLC. So that gives you 100% gain in how much capacity per die. Right. But they were trying to do that while keeping the latency low. So you notice they actually take a latency hit to move to the second generation in that chart. It's slightly longer read latency, but still nowhere near, VNAND, regular consumer VNAND read latency.
Yeah.
So again, we don't know exactly what tricks they're doing, but I mean, they own that process from front to back. So presumably you can do some kind of architectural changes in how the flash is, communicated with or read or
it sounds really interesting. I would love to get some detail on what they're actually doing. I don't feel like that's something we'll ever get.
No, not yet.
Especially if it's not something that's going to ever see a consumer or workstation release.
Yeah, we might get more detail from Samsung, like say at CES. They might talk more about this. Well, they're going to probably do some product releases around CES, I'm guessing, because they haven't had a summit. And they were already
I just don't see this being detailed there.
I mean, I don't know. There might be something in there. But my point is, even if they do give detail on the product, more than has already come out, because there was a white paper with or spec sheet and stuff.
Yeah.
Even if they gave more detail, none of us are going to get to test it. And you're not going to be able to buy it.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Not yet. 5 years in the future, maybe they'll get to a point where this is something the thing you buy.
Cool stuff, maybe. One day. We don't know. We'll see. Allied Control showing off immersion cooling at Supercomputing 17. I feel like this is something we talked about. We must have just talked about it in the office a little bit or something.
Yeah.
It's not super new.
Don't
you remember?
It may be stuck in your
QuakeCon?
Yeah, QuakeCon. That's what's stuck in your head.
No, I mean, I thought we talked about this recently.
Talk about this in the office.
Yeah, but I think it was just in the office, not on the podcast or whatever. I love seeing boiling water, which is essentially what this looks like.
Coming off of a motherboard.
Yeah, and the QuakeCon stuff, I do remember that was very cool.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's not water.
BitFury bought this company?
Who did?
I don't know.
That's what it says in the article. Bitfury bought Allied Control. Bitfury makes crypto mining ASICs.
Bitcoin mining ASICs.
Yep. And considering the liquid probably costs about $100 a liter.
Well, now that
gonna take a
Bitcoin's
bit of
involved,
Bitcoin
it's
to pay
going to
for
be
it.
$300 a liter. Jesus. So what's cool about this? What am I looking at? So this is just basically.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. What am I looking at? Somebody explain what the hell I'm
Phase
seeing.
change. Phase change.
Boiling water. Yeah, I
Phase
got
change.
So, okay, anyway, it takes a lot more energy to do phase change, and so it kind of absorbs that, and you're better off. Now, you've got to have some kind of thing to cool the vapor that comes off so it, goes back down. Otherwise, you'd be doing 100% loss of liquid.
Which I'm not sure where that is in this demo.
It's out of the shot. It's right there.
Oh, there it
in
is.
that demo.
Is it the silver thing?
It's near.
No,
That's
it's the copper things in the back.
yeah. There's
I see.
there's
Okay.
cooling coils at the very top. They're just out of
I
the
see.
frame.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
it's
this will be
a
hermetically sealed, so it's not losing
electrical
anything.
conducting
Got it.
fluid, and its boiling point is at the point, right at the point where these processors are kind of at their best
there they
overall
are.
efficiency.
Okay.
I mean, it could be better efficiency with lower, but you kind of have to do some trade-offs with thermodynamics and the
How do
chemical
you-
properties.
Gee, is it
How
inert?
do you do what?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
Yeah,
So,
it's an
like-
inert liquid.
But I'm trying to figure out, can you just plug a DisplayPort cable in
Yeah.
to the? Okay,
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
not. It's not conductive. Like that's.
And
just-
actually, if you look up there, you can see the Wi-Fi dongle with the green light flashing up there in the corner too. Bluetooth would not work very well in this. Just a heads
just
up.
the antenna was.
Bluetooth does not go through water very well. I don't know about Wi-Fi, but I know Bluetooth does
Well,
not.
the antenna. They have the back of what would be the back of the system is near the top. So if there were any of those antennas, they'd be
They could extend
above
them
the
out.
surface of the
well,
water.
if you look in the video, there's like a
Little
green
Bluetooth
one that's
thing.
flashing right here.
Oh yeah.
I think
It's
that's
right
a
at the
Wi-Fi
surface of the
dongle.
water, like,
Yeah,
that should
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Well, I keep saying water, but it's not.
Don't drink it. So this is $100 a liter. This is probably not like practical for
expensive.
my desktop PC.
Yeah, not practical.
It would be really cool though.
Every time I see something like this, it reminds me of
Nope.
the movie
The Abyss.
The Abyss, right, where they breathe the liquid.
So
and I'm like
there was a guy. There was a guy at QuakeCon that did this, and he had his GPU on a ribbon on an angle. Basically, he did everything he could to make the system as thin as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In other words, this is a huge, tank.
Yeah.
A lot of wasted volume.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
wasted volume in there. But if you can have
But
your
to-
GPU sideways,
just having-
and-
But the thing about that is you've got a lot of thermal density with a larger amount of volume. And when
Right, I
you're
was gonna
dealing
say.
with
well, that's true too.
7 GPUs and a high-end processor, you're going to be utilizing that.
I assume the more
Yeah.
fluid in
Density.
there, the more cooling capacity the whole system has, right?
Yes.
It's not relevant. It's not relevant here because that.
Dude, that's Newtonian physics.
No, it's not relevant because the entire volume of that water is right at the
or maybe
flash point.
Fahrenheit.
No,
If you're-
Josh,
if
you
you're
still have
blow-
to be able to. You have to change it back.
Yeah, you have to change it back. You have to be able to remove the heat to recondense.
That's true.
The liquid.
But how many other parts in that machine are not causing the phase change, but are increasing the overall heat of the environment?
Oh, sure. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
here's my point.
And so the more volume you have, the greater the thermal density and the better cooling you're going to have.
Yes, but
Right.
just by the fact that you have bubbles coming off of all those parts and the bubbles are not collapsing before they
You know
hit
what?
the surface,
When I'm in the bathtub and I got
Those are
bubbles
different
coming out,
bubbles.
footage of that.
those are different bubbles.
Tiny bubbles.
Yeah. So if the liquid if the rest of that liquid was much cooler than the parts that are boiling off the liquid,
Yeah.
the bubbles would collapse before they got to the surface. Take it from reactor.
Now, you can't really
guys.
tell from this video, but that is
stable
the amount of
temperature after
time
running for
those
a while.
bubbles are there and the distance. Damn it!
I'm going to put up a
You're
light
trying
for you
to
guys.
do down a complex environment into. Never mind.
Yes.
Let's move on.
It bubbles
shall we?
and it cools down.
Yes.
I like it. Thanks, Nick Knupfer, for the video. We liked that video. All right. So we're not going to do picks of the week, despite the fact that they're on the rundown. Instead, we're going to walk through real quick a couple of our highlights of our gift guide on the components section. By the way, I do think this image here is actually pretty cool. If somebody has those keycaps for me, that'd be great. and if you hit the red one, it just randomly orders something from Amazon.
You don't need a keyboard button that does that. You do that already.
So actually, I'm going to click this link because I don't know if it's the same price anymore. It is. Okay. The Threadripper 1950X is $799 currently, right? So $200 off of its launch price.
That's 20%.
It's a significant amount. And you can get $70 more if you get approved for the Amazon Prime Rewards Visa card. Don't do that. So the top end multi-threaded processor, $799, great deal there. If you're looking to buy into a high-end system, 7700K is down to $287, which is pretty impressive. Even though this is the quad-core part, only 4
That's
cores,
what's in my home
hyper-threaded.
system. You know, I got some
wanted
deal
to
at
pick
Micro
the
Center a while
8700
back.
for this, but you couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's true.
It wasn't available.
Yeah, can't recommend it if you can't buy the damn thing.
Ryzen 7 1700 is great at $269, and probably better than the 7700K.
Depending on what you're doing.
If you're doing multi-threaded specific stuff, if that's what you're worried about.
Yep.
Maury's got a handful of motherboards in there. ROG Strix Z270, MSI X299 Gaming M7 motherboard, which is, there. There's the Aorus AX370 Gaming 5 motherboard we talked about earlier. That's on the list. And the X3099, we've got the ROG Zenith Extreme Threadripper board. Holy jeebs, that's still impressive.
One of these sockets is not like the other.
Yeah, no joke. No kidding. For graphics cards, I wanted, as I wrote here, I was tempted to leave this section blank with a middle finger picture.
Yeah.
Because once again, like, cards are really hard to find.
That one's actually
priced.
out of stock.
Is it? Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
The 1070 Ti Turbo from Asus was $449, which is actual MSRP. I was really excited to add it to it. It's apparently gone. And then the 1080 Amp was $549.
I didn't check that one.
Just tell me what that one is. And then the RX 580.
It's definitely not that price anymore.
Definitely not
580s went through the roof.
The amp looks like it's sold out and used from $669.
Cool.
Cool story, bro.
Don't worry about the RX 580. You can't buy that one either.
Yeah.
But we did find the 850 Evo. This is a SATA drive, 500 gigs, $140.
I think that's still going for that.
149 right now.
Oh, yeah. It went up a little.
But it's still not bad. Not too bad.
Still a good price for a drive.
Yeah, I think so. So as we go through my picks, what are the ones that stand out? This Jabra headset is nice.
If you're doing
voice calls only. What'd you say?
Doing telecommuting.
It's not for gaming. Like, it's not good audio to your ears, but it's good audio from your mouth, right? Relative for a small mic that's portable, and it's $48. There's screwdrivers here because everybody in this office loses screwdrivers, so I bought a handful of these.
I know not of what you speak.
Yeah, right.
I don't lose anything ever.
And then I think this was my pick of the week a few weeks ago, the Star Wars from a certain point of view. And then this one came up in my feed recently that I bought, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, some stories behind how video games are made. So it's pretty good. And then I also had the Logitech G810, which is actually like a year-old keyboard. This used to be $150. Now it's $80.
That's good.
And it's the Romer G keys, so it's a little bit different than some people are used to, but I actually really like it a lot, and I still use Romer G keys throughout this office, really, for me personally. RGB gaming, but not like, this is when they got away from the G910 super space futuristic design and to something more straightforward and simple, but still, I think, pretty neat looking. Can any of yours stand out you want to mention?
My unofficial pick, which I put in there, is buy an LG OLED set because this is the cheapest they'll be for 12 months.
Yeah.
So do that. Do that now.
An LG OLED TV. Yeah.
But I realized I hadn't bought a lot of tech this year, so I went with some more picks that people might enjoy.
Sure.
Definitely have an instant read thermometer if you want to do any sort of cooking.
Or stab somebody and see what their temperature is.
You have no idea how much you're going to use it until you have one and have one ready. Just check the temperature of everything. Don't overcook that chicken.
Yeah.
Dry it out.
Does that fold in?
Yeah, it folds in.
Okay. All right. It doesn't just sit in your drawer
to stab
with the
people
blade, with the needle point sticking out. All right.
Folds in.
Hey, if you
Completely
gotta check
waterproof.
someone's temperature in a hurry,
Just stab it in their neck.
Exactly. It would instantly read it. Available in a wide variety of colors.
Seem like you got a
Patient
fever,
also
Alan.
seems distressed.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like your heart rate's going up now too. That's weird.
Does it read your heart rate? Or can you just guess what happens after you stab a person with it?
You got a Blu-ray here for physical media.
Yeah.
Josh is going to love it.
So if you do buy that 4K TV with HDR,
Oh, there you
pick
go.
a Planet Earth 2, you obviously need a 4K Blu-ray player, but the Xbox One S has been under $200 on sale recently,
Yeah.
which is pretty
I saw it
good.
for
And you get
$189
a
recently.
game console out of it that you can do some stuff with. And, it's a pretty good deal. And Planet Earth 2 is amazing looking.
Yes. I
It's
would recommend both
absolutely
of them.
fantastic. It is the perfect piece of content to demo 4K and HDR. And then why not get a fancy stainless steel thermos from Japan that works really well and you can open with one hand.
How
So
much
if you're
is that?
driving or something, you can open it with one hand, pick it up, open it with one hand.
How much is it?
Like $25.
For $26.
One of those vacuum ones?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Double wall vacuum thermos.
Does it keep things hot and cold things cold?
Absolutely.
Those things used to be really, really expensive.
Technology. All right, Alan, what do you got?
So I don't know if the price has held, but Elgato Cam Link.
Nope. $30 more.
Oh, damn.
Free one-day shipping, though.
Back to MSRP.
Yeah, it's back to MSRP. So these things used to be like $300 not too long ago. For HDMI to USB 3 in some way that you can use it as a webcam if you wanted to, or you basically import the video into anything.
So basically, there's a chip in here that takes HDMI source, turns it into essentially emulating a basic generic webcam.
Yes.
Plugs into
What's
USB
the
port.
actual name of that, Ken? There was a name you said. It was some acronym of the type of device that it shows up as.
A webcam?
WEB cam.
It was different.
No, it literally just shows up under the webcam.
Oh yes, I agree, but it's
yeah.
like it conforms to some standard that just,
Got it.
So
I don't.
The reason I got this is if I'm traveling and need to Skype in for a podcast or something, don't want to have to deal with the look up your nose mic in the laptop or the look up your nose webcam in the laptop, or the really just generally crappy webcam. And I'll usually have my camera with me. It'd be handy to just be able to use the camera as a webcam. So that's what a lot of people do with these things. They'll have an SLR. They want to have a webcam style input. You just use this thing to do it.
Sure. Yeah. Handy to have.
Other people might want to capture, they're playing games on an Xbox. They want to be able to capture it. You can capture the HDMI.
That's true. Does it do 1080p?
1080p
60?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I guess whatever would normally be able to capture that would be able to capture it.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
I think that's a waste to send it to Skype, probably, but
I don't know if it does 4K 30.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's just.
I think they would
1080p.
advertise that if it did. And then your other one is the webcam to go with the dongle.
Yeah, the very expensive webcam.
This was your pick.
I made that pick like a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just.
All right. Oh, Sony RX10
RX10
Mark IV.
And I also, at the bottom of that pick, I said, hey, by the way, like the RX10 Mark III is $500 cheaper than that camera.
That's probably a better idea.
And probably, if you're okay with eBay, there's probably some folks that upgraded, like myself, and are might be putting the Mark III on the market. Keep it.
Wink.
There's still nothing wrong with that camera. It's just a little bit slower and doesn't have phase detect.
Don't even get me started about Sony's camera selling practices. They keep the old models in the market. So you can buy the RX10 Mark 1, 2, 3, and 4, all at, like, if you walk into Best Buy.
Do you think they're still manufacturing them, or do they just like make too many and now they're on a shelf?
It kind of seems like they might still have to be at some point, because you can still get a lot of these old cameras.
What you have to realize is the Mark 1 and 2 is a different model than the 3 and 4.
Exactly.
It's a different
Make
lens.
it nice and easy on the consumers.
Yeah.
You can
it's
buy them
annoying.
all currently.
Yeah.
For different price points.
Oh, so it's not just that it allows you sensor and they downbind it.
No.
This is a 1.
Yeah. And which sucks, because if you want the type of lens that's on the Mark II, you're basically stuck with a 2.5-year-old camera technology. Because, even though that lens would work on the new ones, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, Josh.
Me. Shocking.
Thrust
Racing.
master.
Shocking that it's a racing lens.
I'm finishing up the review on this one, and it really is the best for the price
Mhm.
racing wheel and base that I have used.
350
It's
for a
about as
professional.
powerful as the Fanatec CSL Elite, but it's far more sensitive and subtle in its feedback than the previously mentioned CSL. But it was originally, I think, a $530 product, and now you can get it for $349. So it's a pretty significant decrease in price. And for what you get, you're going to probably have this thing for quite some time. It's going to be well supported. And I think it still is $349 on Amazon. But it's a fantastic piece of kit if you like to do racing.
Very cool. What else you got?
I don't know. Scroll down.
I think you made this a pick before too, though.
Previously, but yeah, right now it's above $75. But these go on sale quite often.
Yeah.
And the thing about pressure cookers is pressure cookers used to be really dangerous. If you were brave, Google pressure cooker accidents, and you'll see what improperly used pressure cookers will do to you. This has a bunch of safety features in there
filled with nails
that you should not have these kind of accidents. It's got all kinds of pre-programmed things for, stew, rice, cake, cheesecake, for God's sakes. Everything you could possibly do with the pressure cooker. There's tons of recipes out there. And if you can get it on sale again for $75, that is an awesome deal.
All right.
Next. Yeah, you got to have storage.
SSD.
$249 is still pretty high. We've seen it lower.
Yeah.
Previously.
$3
I think I bought mine for $200 over the summer.
I'm talking about like $226 back in Q2.
Oh, okay.
I think I bought mine for $200.
They've gone up in price, but you know what? If you've never experienced NVMe, you need to do so because it's amazing.
As they say, once you go NVMe.
Yeah, then you'll never go something.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah. And my last and final pick, this thing is bulletproof. I may have done this some time ago.
Do not take that literally. Do not wear it as a vest.
But I've had this same keyboard for 10 years. And it still works. And it still feels good.
Gross.
And it's only $43.
Yeah.
And it's got all kinds of functionality.
We have a ton of Logitech keyboards here that I feel like we've had for 5 years or more, those wireless kits.
They still work.
And they still work. I mean, we're also not like writing books on them.
Yeah, it's true.
They're used for testing, so all right.
But yeah, this is super comfortable and it's a solid build and it's been around for ages and it's great.
Also not really solid gold.
No.
But worth noted. Maury recommends you buy your loved ones SwiftTake Apogee water blocks and colored adapters and GPU water blocks and coolant. Don't buy that for children who might think it's a cool beverage, however.
Don't
Jeremy,
put it in Ken's cooler either.
Yeah, Jeremy, what did you pick?
Well, yeah, I picked up a Roku last year, and I just love the buddy thing because I can unplug it from the TV, haul it anywhere I get to that's got Wi-Fi, and continue watching whatever Netflix or YouTube I was when I left the home. They've upgraded with some new firmware and a brand new bunch of software, which is, at least in the US, offering live TV and a bunch of the extra stuff that we sort of covered when we were talking about Plex.
Yep.
But one of the new models offers 4K support. So if you're picking up Ken's brand new 4K HDR TV, this is a perfect thing to plug into it.
Fair
and
enough.
It's cheap. At $70, it's cheaper than the Shield.
Yeah.
That's true. No argument.
Yeah.
Everything supports Roku.
I've also got the Logitech webcam C920, a classic but reliable camera.
I mean, that's what we've been using here for how many years now? Like either a 910 or a 920?
I think 100.
I'm convinced there are no other webcams in the world, just the C910 and C920.
This is the only thing that Buddy will buy. And considering up here in Canada, they're about $70. I think down in the States, I saw them for $55, $60. It's just don't buy anything else. Like these things are just what a webcam is supposed to do, and it does it perfectly. And as I mentioned, it doesn't come with silly apps that make you into a dog or various other silly things.
You have to download those now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And of course,
you got to go play outside occasionally, right?
It's true.
Yeah. So this Parrot comes with a 720p camera. It includes the fairly cheap sort of VR goggles, and it only costs $150. So when you eventually do fly it into something and it dies, you're not going to be quite as upset as if you paid for a $500 or $600 one. It looks super easy to do. You can also control it via your phone, so you can give a friend those VR goggles and see if you can make them airsick. because who doesn't want to do that?
That's true. That's a good
And
point.
it is also going to work if you want to jump into drone racing. So a lot of fun.
And last but not least, Alex. Well, let's see. Sebastian picked. What do we got here? A DAC of some kind. Is that what that is? Yep. Some Audio-Technica headphones. And the HyperX Alloy keyboard. Alex, you have some powered battery backups here. It's a couple different options.
You're going to spend all this money on all this gear. Make sure it's protected. That's all.
I say that all the time. Say it all the time.
I mean,
How many of those do you own, Ryan?
We have a lot of these now. Probably like 6 or 7 of them here in the office. Maybe 5 or 6 of them in the office. Between the small ones and the big ones. Yeah. I think some of these exact ones is what we bought.
got 4.
Was it last Black Friday?
Yeah, it was.
Where I bought 2 of them and I should have bought like 6 of them instead or something like that. Yeah.
I think you bought like 6 of them.
I think I only bought 2 and then I went to go buy more and they were like literally $100 more expensive.
That's what happened this year. The price on those jumped.
Yeah. So okay, now it's back up to $215. Damn it.
Oh.
Wasn't paying attention to your picks.
Camel alert.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Get ready.
You're right. And then also
Dash cam. Mine's been indispensable.
does it record to SD? Is that what it does?
Yep.
All right.
I actually just had to file a police report off mine a couple weeks ago from an altercation with someone.
Uh-oh. Did you get out of your car and get into a fight, Alex?
No, they got in a fight before I got there, but I came up on a fight on the side of the road.
Oh, I
and
see.
Then the guy drove off, and here's the video. Oh, here's his plate. Oh, he's arrested now. Great.
Hopefully it was an anonymous tip.
Yeah. Semi.
All right, everybody. That is going to be it for us this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. I may or may not be here. Alan will be here. Alex will be here. I don't think Ken will be here.
No.
Ken and I probably won't be here. I don't know. We might. We'll see. Maybe we'll Skype in. You never know. What do you think latency is like to Hawaii? It's probably pretty high.
About a half a second.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a long latency for a Skype call.
You've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah, I remember you did some podcast when you're out on the balcony with the leg.
Yes, that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hey, if the technology could do it 6 years ago, everything's only gotten better.
Should be less than half a second.
Everything has gotten so much better this year.
If it's not hopping off a satellite, it should be.
All right. That's it for us, everybody. We'll see you next week. PCPer.com/podcast is where you can go find all the information and links and stuff and subscribes and RSSs and videos and show notes. That's it. Bye, everybody. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walworth.
And I'm Alan Valentino.
Good night, everybody.